Two games again today. First game is FC United under-19s versus Alfreton Town under-19s, and the second game is Manchester United women versus Manchester City women. I added some games to my games being to list while I was on the train. I had a bit of time before the game, so I went into Whitley's Cafe there in Moston. I had a cup of tea, keep out of the cold. While I was in there, I added my video onto YouTube, onto social media as well. While I was doing this, I had a thought about all the times I use my accessibility systems on my phone to do stuff like adding my videos and texting and whatever else you do on your phone. You live on your phone these days, and how vital that disability equipment on your phone is. And I think back to how I got the training when I was working at the RNIB on that kind of stuff, and how that is still vital to my life today. It's one of the most vital tools that I have. Seeing this walking through Manchester on the way to my second bus, it's pretty terrible really, this scaffolding for someone who is blind or partially sighted. It would be even worse in the dark. There is no foam padding, yellow foam padding on the poles. It can be just a bit safer because you could see it more easily, and even if you did hit it, it wouldn't be as hard to hit. And those little planks that they've got down there to level up the poles at the bottom of the structure, they're the same colour as the pavement, so anybody without any depth perception like myself, that is an absolute nightmare. You wouldn't be able to see them at all. I'm just very lucky that I did see them, and I'm always looking out for things like that, but at night you could easily come a cropper on them. It's really poor. I just hope that my tweet highlights how something that is just everyday and normal can be so dangerous for people like me. Got to Lee and had a drink in the pub next to the ground there at Lee Sports Village. While I was in there, I got quite a bit done. I did some video editing. I also booked my flight home from Romania for next week. I've been debating about what game to go to on the Friday, so I wanted to choose where to come into. I've decided to go into Luton and watch Luton under 21s versus Brighton under 21s that evening, and stay in Luton to go to Crawley the next day to watch Wrexham. And I also did some eBay and vintage stuff as well. So the journey home starts with a Uber taxi to Newton Station. Over the years of United playing reserve games and women's games at Lee, I have tried many different ways of getting home. I have settled on an Uber now to Newton, as this does seem to be the most efficient way. A taxi to Newton costs £8, whereas the other alternative is 2 buses there, which have a very close connection. So if you miss one, you end up in a taxi anyway. And the 2 buses would cost £4 anyway. So you're doubling your cost, but you are then kind of reducing your costs if you had to pay. Obviously I don't have to pay for the bus between Wrexham and Chester anyway, but if you had to, then you would miss your last train to Wrexham, and then you'd end up having to pay extra for a bus. but even that would equal out the costs. But even with having the bus pass, it really only costs me £4 extra to get the taxi, and then I'm guaranteed to get the last train between between Chester and Wrexham as well. So I think for the £4 extra, that Uber is worthwhile. Had some time between trains at Chester, so I had a drink in a town crier and did some eBay and vintage stuff. So that's it for this trip, quite a cheap one at £41.